So let's talk about touching up a photo. Let's say there's elements of the photograph that we'd like to remove after the fact. Whoops. In particular, let's say there's like hair or dust or things like that. So like right here, we have these like little fray whiskers that maybe we don't necessarily want the eye drawn to, or maybe we want to, remove some other element from our image. I'm going to show you how to do that. So first, on the side, I'm just going to group all these layers together. So I'm going to click the first layer, and if I hold Shift and then click the last layer, that selects all of them. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just make a group, so I can right-click. And, oh, I see what the problem is. Right now we have this locked, so I'm just going to unlock that by clicking the lock button. Select all of those, and we're going to group from layers, and we'll give that a name. So I'll just call this base photo or something like that. And now those are all in one folder, so they're all grouped together in one folder. So we have that in a folder. Let's add a new fresh layer, and I'm going to call this Touch Ups. So I have the Touch Ups layer selected, and there's a bunch of different tools in Photoshop that we can use to fix small issues in our photographs. So let's take these little hairs in particular. I'm just going to zoom in on them. And you really want to do your touching up kind of after the fact, sort of after you've done everything else in your image, such as color and light and balance. And on the right-hand or left-hand side of the screen, there's a bunch of different tools. One of these tools is the Spot Heal tool. It's got a little band-aid, okay? Let's select that. And what we want to do first off is at the top of our screen, we want to make sure that our type is content aware, and we're going to make sure Sample All Layers is checked. If we don't have that checked, it's not going to work. The size of my brush is really huge, so I'm going to shrink it down. You really want to shrink your brush to be about the size of the thing that you're removing. So I don't know if you can see this super well, but I'm about the size of that hair, and all I'm going to do, making sure I have Sample All Layers checked, is I'm just going to click and drag, paint, and then release, and it's gone. Let's do the same over here, click and drag, and release, and it's gone. So we're good to go. We could sit here and clean up every little microscopic thing if we'd like to. Let's say I want to get rid of this circle right here. I don't like this white circle. Make my brush a little bit bigger, make it match the circle, and then I'll click once, and it should be pretty much gone. So yeah, spot healing is ridiculous. It works incredibly well, and I'm doing this on a new layer just so that I can turn them off at any time. It's a non-destructive form, so at any time I can turn this on and off. Other than the spot healing brush, there's also things like Content Aware Move, which I'll let you play with yourself. And then there's the clone stamp, which is super common, and most of you have probably used it before. The clone stamp tool allows you to take a sample from one area and paint it in another. So just to verify my things look correctly, so I have a soft brush selected, I'm in normal mode, and I'm going to make sure Sample All Layers is checked. And what I'll do is there's sort of two stages to the clone stamp. If I try and paint, it's going to say there's nothing defined. Option, click to define a source point. So I'll hold down Option, and I'll just show you an example. So I'll click over here, and now my brush is just going to paint that same thing. So let's say I'm trying to get rid of this blue streak right here. So I selected this. I'm going to kind of move it over here, and as I'm painting, what's happening is it's sampling that area again. So let's just kind of get it there. Oh, so we painted too far, and now we've got, this piece in here. So I'm going to undo that, and let's take another sample, same area of that brush, and we'll just sort of draw that down. Same thing, I'll just sample again. Again, it's as simple as just option clicking the area and then kind of transplanting that around. It's a little bit easier also if you're using a smaller brush here and there. So taking a small sample and then moving that around. Again, we're going to learn how to use Photoshop to its full extent, but you could see how you could use the clone stamp to fix a lot of problems. So that's clone stamp and the healing tool. And again, just focus on doing it on a new layer and making sure that Sample All Layers is on here, or in the healing brush that box is checked.